So today's topic, actually something we all relate to. I actually found this topic on one of the topic suggestions in our suggestions file, and I thought it would be a good one for me to take on because we all face this almost every other day in our life. Small failures, big failures, but it's there. So how can we keep ourselves going? What motivates us, after we experience a failure? A little bit I will go over, but I don't think there's anything new here. As I was putting the slides together and I was reading up on this, I found that probably every one of you joined this class, knows all this information. So it's just a reminder for all of you of when you experience something like that, what are the things to remind yourself. So I found the formal definition of what is a failure. So basically failure is just a state or condition when you don't meet your desirable outcome or the objective you wanted to achieve. When you don't achieve it, that's when you experience this state or condition, that's the formal definition of failure. The other way of looking at it is the opposite of success. When you don't succeed, that's when you experience the failure. Now, there's a quote I found. I actually have few quotes in the presentation. It's just a reminder and motivational for all of us. So this one I found interesting, that failure is a prerequisite for great success. If you want to succeed faster, double the rate of your failure. That means it's just reminding you that a failure is not something that you should go and hate yourself for. It's something you should embrace as what you need in order for you to succeed. Now, a few things were tips, I would say, what you can remember if you go through an experience of failure. What are the things you should remind yourself and how you need to overcome it and how you can get yourself motivated again. I think the first thing is to take time to heal emotionally. Now, again, depends on the size of your failure. There are many failures we experience in life. Some are minor ones. Something I wanted to, I guess, order online or something, which I had a sale, but we missed it. That sort of, you feel like a failure. I experienced it, in fact, last week. I wanted to order some shoes for my daughters because within the last 2 months that we are home, their feet grew. So none of their shoes fit them anymore because we haven't been out for a while. And so I wanted to place an order and there was a really great sale on, and I put everything on the shopping cart and I thought, okay, I'll order. Next thing I know, when I went back to check, the price has gone double because I missed the sale. So that point of time, I felt like a failure that, oh, why I did not go through and place that order. I should have done it, but it's not something that I stopped my life for and thought about and made me feel down. But then there's those other failures where bigger failures when it impacts your life, where you maybe wanted to get a certain job or wanted to achieve certain things which you could not. Now, the first thing you have to remember is you have to give yourself time to heal emotionally, because failure does impact you emotionally. It's a sadness you feel. So you need to ensure that you are accepting it and telling yourself that, okay, it has happened. I am feeling sad about it. I should accept that emotion. And then I should have a creative mindset, positive mindset. I need to create a positive mindset for myself in order for me to emotionally heal and come out of this. So that's the first thing you need to remember. If you experience failure, accept it emotionally. Yes, it's making me sad, but I have to be positive. This is not the end of the world, and I have to get myself back up. So that's your first lesson when you experience a negative, when you experience a failure. Now, and second lesson to remember is you need to remind yourself that there's no success without failure. In order for you to experience success, you need to have failure, because basically success is what the opposite of failure. So because of failure, you get to experience success. So you have to remember that if everything is perfect, everything, you're not feeling any kind of or experiencing any kind of failure, then you will not really get the feeling of success or experience of success as much, or the value of it. So you need to remember this. And one important lesson is learn from mistakes. So the only, I put some quotes you'll notice I found interesting. So this quote is by Henry Ford, that the only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. So we have to remember whatever mistake we've made, whatever failure we experience, we need to look back and see, okay, why I did not achieve this, or why I failed in this, and how I can do better. What did I learn from this? Simple things like when we experience in the company, such as our a project didn't go live, or a project failed for some reason. Why we ask you guys to do retrospective, why retrospective is required, so that you can actually go back and see what went wrong and what we learn from it, so that we are not making that same mistake again on the next project. So this is the important thing to remember, that even if you failed on something, it's important that you learn from it. If you keep on making the same mistake over and over again, then that is not a mistake anymore. So this is not a failure anymore, because you are choosing not to learn from whatever experience you've had in the past, and you're going in the same route again. And if you experience failure again, that means you actually failed to do something about it. You did not learn anything from the failure you experienced or the mistake you made. Um, do not dwell on your mistake. Accept them. Choose to be happy. Again, this is a lot to do with your mindset. Your mind actually controls your emotion, how you feel, how you see things, whether you see things positively or negatively. And if you can tell your mind to be positive, and if you tell yourself that you want to be happy, you choose to be happy, this would help you to move on. We all make mistakes, like I said, every day, I guess, some way or another, small ones, big ones. We all experience failures, we all experience mistakes, we do. Important thing is accept them. It has happened, because once it has happened, there is no way we can go back and change it. So there is no point being sad and miserable about it, because what that does is gets you down further, and it means it becomes harder for you to get back up again and start to feel positive. So if you tell your mind, if you choose, because happiness at the end of the day, it's something you can choose. You can choose to be happy, or you can choose to be sad. I'll give you my own example. Whole last week, I felt very down. I was very down. I couldn't figure out any specific reason as such. Everything was good. You know, we're working. The kids are well. We are well. I couldn't find reason, but in general, I was just feeling very down. I had low energy, and I just felt like I didn't want to do anything. So Monday morning, I said to myself this week, you know what, why am I being so miserable? Why do I feel sad? I told myself I should be happy. I should be grateful, because we have a house to live in. My kids are well, my husband's well, we have a business, everybody's doing well. I have my mom, everyone's doing well. What is the reason I'm feeling so unhappy and so down? And I think that, believe me, I was surprised at myself, that telling myself this, that I should be happy, why am I being miserable, actually changed the whole thing for me. That I started to feel positive. I decided that I'm going to be happy, I'm not going to be miserable. And that did change everything for me. So I'm telling you example because I've experienced it myself. And if you really tell yourself that I would like to be happy, I refuse to be sad, it does. Your mind then starts to think positive, and everything else starts to look irrelevant compared to it. And you actually, when you feel happy, you feel positive and you can do a lot more. So that's one thing to remember, that choose to be happy. Don't dwell in your mistakes and just accept them, move on. Don't let it affect your happiness in life. One thing I put down my first day of work, because I wanted to share my experience with you guys of how I experienced failure on my very first job. So this is, I'm talking about when I was 17 years old. I just started college, finished high school, and I wanted to do part-time job. And usually in England, we get the whole summer off. So especially at college, you get full a month and a half off. So I thought, let me work that summertime. And then if it's something good, I can continue part-time when I go back to college. So I went for my first job. I was so excited because I was called for interview and I got the job. And it was a job, it was a sales job. And back then, there wasn't really, I'm talking about what, 1997. So back then, it wasn't where you would have, internet or online shops and anything like that. So it was a door-to-door sale. There was some product. Unfortunately, I don't remember what the product was, but you had to carry this massive bag on your back with the product in it, and you had to go to stores. It wasn't a sale to residential, it wasn't to people directly, but it was to stores, other shops. You had to go and sell this product, show them this product, and then you get the order from them and sell some to them. And so I went on the first training, first day. I did not like it. Then from second 2 days, we started the actual sale. First of all, the bag was so heavy. I wasn't as big and healthy as I am right now. At 17, I was quite small and skinny. So it was very hard for me to carry that bag. I could not make any sale after 2 days. So I decided, you know what, I don't think this is for me. Even the company thought I'm not the right fit. So we basically, at the end of the week, I gave up, and they also told me I don't need to come back the following week. So that was the first failure I experienced in my life. At 17, obviously, I did not think so much. Yes, I felt really bad that first job I got and I couldn't keep. But at that time, I didn't really think so much how I'm telling you guys right now. I didn't even have that kind of mindset. For me, it was just, oh, I'm just looking for a part-time job. So because my main focus was my studies. So this wasn't something that was sort of holding me back. But I did feel bad. It took me a good couple of weeks to to think about it again. I thought I'm a failure. First job I went into, I couldn't do. But one thing that I clearly remember that point of time where I thought, you know what, maybe sales is not for me. I cannot do this because I cannot convince people for selling things. So I should not go into something like this. And could you believe I started applying again, and I was very fortunate that I got a job at a bank. So that was my very second, I would say, official job. I really enjoyed working there. But again, when I went to this job, I made mistake. And the first day after my training, when I actually was at the counter, and I was a cashier at the bank, and I had to accept like people coming in, either withdrawing money or depositing money. So the first client I got, or first customer, actually gave 500 pounds that they wanted to deposit into their account. And I don't know for what reason, I counted them instead of, they were all in 50-pound notes. But instead of counting them as 50 pounds, I counted them as 500 pounds. And instead of depositing 500 pounds into their account, I deposited 5,000 into their account. So can you imagine what a big mistake I made for the bank? Because once you deposit something into a client's account, you can't really withdraw it without getting permission from that customer, because it is their account, even if you're the bank. So that was again, another failure and mistake I made, and I could not forgive myself. But luckily, I had a very good supervisor who really helped me to calm down and said, don't worry, it's okay. We've all made these kind of mistakes, but it bothered me for a long, long time. And I did think about not going back to work again because I felt ashamed. I felt so bad that how could I be so stupid? How could I put an extra zero in this? But luckily, right away, we called the customer. He answered the phone and we told him there's a mistake. So we are going to withdraw this out and redeposit your 500 in your account. And he was okay with it. So luckily the chapter was over, but I, it took me, I think 3 months I worked there initially. Every day I thought about this, but what it made me do is realize that I should not be again making this kind of mistake. So since then I actually worked there for full 2.5 years, because after I went back to college they gave me part-time, so I used to work weekends or evenings sometimes there, and not a single day I remember that my any numbers were mismatched for me. So it made me aware that one mistake I had made, that one failure I experienced, made me then want to be, extra careful and always aware every time I am putting any numbers in, that I am making sure I have the right number of zeros. I am not making any mistake with the figures. So this is how mistakes can also make you aware, make you learn. So again, I know it's a long story I told you guys, but I thought I'd like to share so you realize that, when you experience mistakes, you all experience it, but what you do about it. Should you just give up, or should you continue to, work on it? So um, going back onto our slides, next point you have to remember to overcome failure is find the opportunity to grow. Use your mistake to master your art and continue pressing forward. So again, a quote will explain this. You all know Thomas, I hope you all know that Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulbs. He actually failed 10,000 times before he found the final, he could invent the final light bulb. And every time he failed, he actually figured out what went wrong. So he mastered at his art by continuously failing and pushing himself forward, that, okay, this way I tried, what did not work? He learned from it. So next time he tried, he made sure he's changing things, learning from every failure and moving forward. So if he hadn't invented this, we wouldn't have light right now in our homes. So think about it. People, even famous people, everybody go through a lot of failures in order for them to then become successful, right? Sorry, I'm dragging on, I guess. I'll try to be quick. So how to keep yourself motivated. So again, both of this topic is interrelated. I just put the headings there, but I guess it's the continuation of what I'm talking about. Or when you fail, when you experience failure, remember that you're not the only one that fails. We all, everybody in this world goes through failure at one point or another. We all experience, failure. And it's important to remind yourself that you're not the only one that has failed. Even people like, this is a famous basketball player. I put a quote there from Michael Jordan, that I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. He's lost almost 300 games. 26 times he was trusted to take the game-winning shot. So the last one, his shot would have made the game win for his team, but he missed. He failed over and over and over again in his life, and that is why he succeeded. So that's I found that very powerful quote, that if somebody like Michael Jordan is telling us, reminding us that he also did not have a perfect life, even though we all know how successful he was as a player. He's an icon, but he also failed. And especially those times when his one shot would have made his team win, but he failed. That's 26 times. It's quite a large number. And yet it did not stop him from continue with his career, continue playing and continue trying. So if people like Michael Jordan can do this, why can't we? These are just reminders for all of us that, so what, you failed. So what, you failed in a critical task. This doesn't stop your life. You need to continue trying, and you will succeed. And one failure doesn't define the end of your life. That's it. Your life is destroyed. You just always have to think of it as experience. you learn from it, and you need to move on. Another way how you can keep yourself motivated if you're experiencing failure is a good technique, actually, I found, is if you write down a list of your past successes and you need to think back on your past failure. So what happens is when you are experiencing failure or when you've experienced a failure, you feel down, you have the sadness, you feel negative. And I already mentioned to you guys previously to how you need to be happy and you need to think positive. So one way you can influence your brain is if you can list down all the past successes you've had. So what that will do, and if you go through that list and read out and remind yourself, this will help you to create that positive mindset. This will help you to feel happy again, because you will feel like you're not a failure because you've had these successes in the past. So even small successes, and nobody's saying it always has to be something big you've achieved, but smallest of things. Writing something down, doing something in an organized manner, you felt a sense of achievement. Those small things are also your successes. So write them down, go over that list, remind yourself that you've experienced these successes. So you're not a loser, you're not a failure just because this one instance you did not succeed. That really will help you to create that positive mindset. It will help you to get yourself to be happy again. And at the same time, you think back on your past failures. So why you need to think back on your past failures is two things. Obviously, to learn from those mistakes you've made. But the other thing is to say, yes, you've also experienced failures in the past, but that really did not stop your life. It really did not ruin your life. So that's why you also need to think about those mistakes that you experienced in the past. What happened to you after those experiences? You moved on. You probably experienced something better than that. So that's why it's important that you think about your past successes and you think about your past failures at the same time, which will help you to create your positive mindset and will help you to move on. Another thing is you can do to keep yourself motivated is focus on other goals. So, you always have a lot of things you're doing in your life. If one thing did not work out, you should stop thinking about that and start working on something else, some smaller goals you have set. That would divert your attention from it, and it would help you to get that sense of achievement, something smaller goals. So maybe small thing, again, it doesn't have to be anything big, very small things you can pick on. You decided to I don't know, clean up your cupboard, or you wanted to read this book, or something small you can achieve. Focus your goal on, focus your attention on that goal and achieve that. So that would help you to overcome again and get yourself motivated, because you're going to experience success, and that's going to get you back up again for you to move on. Another thing you should do is visualize your success. So that also helps to create a positive mindset. If you're trying to achieve something, close your eyes and think about what it's going to feel like. Even if you have failed on this specific task, if you can just close your eyes for a moment and see how you would have felt if you had succeeded, that again helps you to create that happiness and that positive mindset. And it will get you motivated, because after one failure, you feel like giving up. You don't want to try that same thing again because you think, okay, I have failed, I'm not going to do this. But if you again close your eyes and visualize what it would feel like if you succeed this, it will give you that motivation to get back again, up again, and try on that task again. So you should not give up. This is a technique you should try. Try to visualize that success what you would that feeling you would experience if you succeed. And if you visualize, it will give you that motivation to try again the same thing that you had failed before. Again, this is another quote, as you guys can see, from Ellen DeGeneres. She's a celebrity and a TV personality. So it's failure that gives you the proper perspective on success. So again, as I was saying at the beginning, if you don't experience failure, you wouldn't really have feel the value of success, because it's the opposite of success. So failures are important, and failures make you realize and gives you that boost when you succeed. One other thing to remember how to keep yourself motivated after a failure is you need to surround yourself with positive people. Negative people bring you down further. They will continuously remind you, oh, you have failed. Their negative mindset will have impact on you. It will start to make you feel even down, even more negative about yourself and about the thing you failed. So you need to make sure you avoid those people, be around positive people, because positive people would help you to get back up again, will help you to feel motivated because they will encourage you. They will give you that positive mindset. And honestly, I feel lucky because Shahid is very positive with everything, always. And every time I feel down with something, if I could not do, he's always there telling me, be positive, everything will be okay, don't worry. So it does help that when you have positive people around you who are always giving you that positivity and who's encouraging you, it does help you to move on. So make sure you are not hanging around, or those people who are always, you know them, who are the negative ones, who gives you that negativity, always avoid them. Don't hang around with them, especially when you're feeling down. Get yourself organized. Again, experience, you learn from a mistake. If you tried to do something, you failed, you think back, you learn, you get yourself more organized. Maybe I failed because I wasn't as well organized. I should get my homework done. I should write everything down and see where I went wrong. How could I have been more organized? We have so many examples of this, right? I remember back in 2005 when we first started SJI, we actually got a client, and I'm talking about 2005. He was paying us $50 an hour. Till now, 2020, we don't have a single client who pays us anywhere near that. But that time, we actually got this client, and unfortunately we lost the client. And that's because we weren't organized. Both myself and Shahid, we're new into this. We really did not get ourselves organized. We couldn't do clear communication with client and the developer we had at the time. We couldn't deliver the work on time, and we lost the client. And what it made us do is realize that we are not organized. The reason we lost the client, we weren't disciplined, we didn't communicate properly. So we actually started to work on these things and get ourselves organized slowly. You learn from those type of failures. Another thing, all of you know, well, some of you who've been with us long enough know that even finance-wise, we weren't really organized. We weren't really organized. We didn't have a team specifically for finance or for HR, but all of these things we've learned, the mistakes we've made. One bad example is when we had a former employee who actually cheated us a few years back. And because we openly trusted this person, and we weren't organized with our billings and the process and all of this. So there was room for this person to go ahead and do this and hurt us, our company. But what that did is made us, realize our mistakes, made us realize where we are lacking, and made us become stronger in becoming organized in the billing area, the finance area. So every mistake, every failure, there is always something you can learn from. You should not ignore it. You should, think about but don't dwell in it. Move on, and learn from it and get yourself better and organized at it. And last but not least point is one thing I found really interesting is sweat it out. What does sweat it out means is you do exercise. because what exercise does is helps you to create those positivity in your mind. It really does work. And if you're feeling down, nothing else is working, go work out, sweat it out. If it will help you to create those positive um, uh, positivity in your mind, and will help you to overcome the negativity you are feeling. So that's basically my few of the points I wanted to go over. There is plenty of other reading available online and books and stuff if you guys want to go ahead and read. But these are just few points I picked out. I thought I'll give you guys reminder whenever you're feeling down, or you experience a failure, you should remember some of these points and get over it. Every day we experience failure. In fact, last week I also wanted to do some baking and I failed miserably. So I am always experiencing this, but at the end of the day, none of this is something that is stopping my life. We all need to move on. We all need to continue trying, and eventually things you experience success, which helps you to overcome those failures you experienced in the past. Thank you, everybody.